Welcome to LyFiveElements, where we are dedicated to sharing the wisdom of traditional Chinese metaphysics with the world. Our mission is to teach complex subjects like the four pillars of destiny, also known as Bazi, Qi Feng Shui, and more, in simple, easy to understand English. Subscribe and share our content to help spread this ancient knowledge. Your support is what drives us forward. We also offer personalized one-on-one consultations to guide you on your metaphysical journey. Feel free to leave a comment or contact us directly for more information. Thank you for being part of our community. Hello everyone, I'm Maureen. Welcome to our intermediate course, Self-Punishments Among the Earthly Branches. In the last lesson, we mentioned that when certain characters encounter each other, misfortunes may occur. So we used the term punishment to describe this phenomenon. It represents a form of penalty or punishment. When the characters involved in the three punishments appear together, unfavorable events are likely to happen. The three punishments consist of three groups: 丑, Wei, Xu, Yin, Si, Shen, Zi, and Mao. There are three such groups in total, which is why they are collectively called the three punishments. Another type of punishment involves Pen, Wu, You, and Hai. This is also a form of punishment called self-punishment. When two identical characters appear together, it constitutes self-punishment. For example, Chen meeting Chen, Wu meeting Wu, You meeting You, or Hai meeting Hai is considered self-punishment. What does self-punishment represent? People whose charts contain self-punishment tend to experience strong inner conflict and may torment themselves psychologically. In addition, the six relatives represented by the two involved palaces may also mutually torment or wear each other down. Let's take a look at this woman's Bazi chart. You can see that she has three You. The You in the year pillar represents her mother and her ancestral line. The You in the month pillar also represents her mother and additionally represents her siblings. The You in the day pillar represents her husband. As a result, her mother and her husband do not get along and tend to find fault with each other. This also reflects her own inner state, where she experiences significant inner conflict and often torments herself psychologically. For Chen, Wu, You, and Hai, a single character represents only its own level of energy. When two identical characters appear together, it becomes a 2 times 5 relationship, turning into 10 times the energy. If the natal chart originally contains only one of these characters, and another identical one appears in the major luck cycle or annual luck cycle, this is also called self-punishment. In such a chart, what was originally a single unit of energy suddenly becomes 10 times stronger. This creates a major shift in the energetic structure of the Bazi, and the native will experience noticeable events or issues. Self-punishment essentially represents an increase in energy. If what is being punished brings out favorable or useful elements, it results in good things. If it brings out unfavorable or inauspicious elements, it leads to bad outcomes. In addition, when self-punishment occurs, the 6 relatives represented by the affected palace will also be impacted. I will try to explain this further using more case studies. Let's look at this Bazi chart. In his natal chart, the year branch is Hai, and the day branch is also Hai, water, forming Hai and Hai self-punishment. Then, in 2019, the Ji Hai year, another Hai appeared. One hai is just one unit of energy. When two meet, it becomes 10 units. However, those 10 units had already been present in his chart for decades, and he had adapted to them. So on their own, they would not cause anything too serious. It still requires a luck cycle or an annual cycle to trigger actual events. In the Jihai year, when 3 hai came together, it became a 3 times 5 relationship, and the water energy was suddenly strengthened. What exactly was strengthened? At this point, we must analyze whether this person is strong or weak. This person is a Ting Fire Day Master. With so much water in the earthly branches controlling him, and metal in the hour stem further draining him, this chart is judged as weak. The weakness of this chart mainly lies in the Jia wood in the month stem. If this Jia wood was also draining him, the chart would instead become an extremely weak structure, turning weakness into strength. But here, the Jia wood supports and generates him, so the chart remains a normal weak structure. Now, with so much additional water coming in, the water energy increased significantly. As a result, the native himself said that in that year, he experienced setbacks and legal trouble. Why did this happen? Because his direct officer energy in high was strengthened. Everyone should understand that when direct officer becomes excessive, it transforms into 7 killings. As we mentioned before, too many eating God becomes hurting officer. Too many direct resource becomes indirect resource. Too many direct wealth becomes indirect wealth. And likewise, too many direct officer becomes 7 killings. In his case, this led to involvement with law enforcement and the legal system, resulting in a lawsuit. At the same time, the punishment also affected his mother and his wife. The two of them were in the same car and were involved in a traffic accident, which manifested this calamity. This is because, as explained earlier, when self-punishment occurs, the 6 relatives represented by the involved palaces will also be affected. The key point is to see whether the increase in self-punishment energy brings out a favorable element or an unfavorable one. In this chart, it clearly strengthened water, and water is something that controls him. The direct officer turned into 7 killings, and the 7 killings represent the most aggressive force against the Day Master. As a result, he himself suffered a calamity, and his wife and his mother were also affected. This is exactly what was meant earlier by, if punishment brings out favorable elements, good things happen. If it brings out unfavorable elements, bad things happen. When self-punishment occurs, the 6 relatives of the palace will also be affected. Next, let's look at these two Bazi charts together and compare them, because their destinies show an extreme contrast. The first chart belongs to a female celebrity. We won't mention her name here. In 2018, she became involved in a legal case and was fined tens of billions for tax evasion that year. Her net worth is at least over 10 billion. This is because she has 3 yo, self-punishments, which formed a 3 times 5 relationship, resulting in 15 units of yo energy. For a Ting Fire Day Master, yo represents indirect wealth. Now look at the second chart. It also has 3 yo appearing together. But in real life, this person is just an ordinary entrepreneur, a small business owner. Why is there such a huge difference? The key lies in Daymaster's strength. In the first chart, there are 2 Ting Fire stems in the heavenly stems, supporting her. And the Wei in the hour branch also contains a hidden Ting Fire. This is called having roots in the earthly branches and support in the heavenly stems, so the Ting fire energy is not weak. Now look at the second chart. There is almost no Ting fire support in the heavenly stems at all. In the earthly branches, only the Shi in the year pillar contains a very small hidden Ting fire, providing minimal rooting. Compared to the first chart, the energy level is far weaker. Although both charts have 15 units of indirect wealth, why does the female celebrity have a net worth in the tens or hundreds of billions, while this person cannot make much money? The reason is due to the Daymaster's strength. A person must be strong enough in order to control and utilize wealth. This person cannot fully control wealth because he is a weak Daymaster. However, he still has opportunities to become wealthy later on. Let's look at what happens when he enters the Jia Yin major luck cycle from age 49 to 59. Both Jia and Yin are direct resource, which generate and support him. This strengthens him, shifting him from a weak Daymaster to being slightly stronger. As a result, during this major luck cycle, he still has the opportunity to make money and achieve financial success. When this native asked about his financial luck, it was in 2020. At that time, he was in the Renzi major luck cycle, and 2020 was the Gengzi year. Geng represents direct wealth, yet he was unable to make money because his overall energy was insufficient. I want everyone to understand this point clearly. In the first case, the female celebrity's chart was triggered through self-punishment, was a favorable and useful element. Her chart cannot really be classified as strong Daymaster. Rather, it should be considered balanced. As her major luck cycles and annual cycles provided support, she could be treated as a strong Daymaster, allowing her to fully control and utilize wealth. Hence, a net worth in the tens or hundreds of billions. This was because the punishment activated a favorable element, increasing usable energy. In contrast, in this second case, what was activated through self-punishment was his unfavorable element. He is completely weak Daymaster, and the strengthened energy was not something beneficial to him. As a result, he was unable to accumulate wealth. This illustrates how to view self-punishment. Sometimes, self-punishment leads to good outcomes, and sometimes to bad ones. It all depends on what is being activated. If self-punishment activates a favorable element, it can bring great wealth. In this person's case, it activated an unfavorable element. So not only could he not get rich, he remained just an ordinary entrepreneur, struggling back and forth, finding it difficult to make money. This is what we call self-punishment, which applies to Chen, Wu, You, and Hai. It belongs to the same category of punishment as the three punishments. And generally, when self-punishment is discussed, it often indicates that unfavorable events may occur. There is another situation that is considered the most serious and one that is very rare. I have only heard about it and have never personally encountered it. I have only seen it mentioned in ancient texts. That is when a chart contains two sets of self-punishment. For example, You You and Chen Chen forming two separate self-punishments. People with such a structure may be prone to suicide. This is because those with self-punishment in their destiny tend to experience severe inner conflict and self-torment. Having one set of self-punishment is still manageable. If there are two sets, the danger arises when a major luck cycle or annual cycle triggers them. For instance, if there are already two You and another You appears, or two Chen and another churn comes in through luck cycles. This can lead to suicidal tendencies or actions. I have only heard of such cases and have not personally seen one. I am mentioning this here simply to make everyone aware. Today, we explain Chen, Wu, You, and Hai, forming another type of punishment. When two identical characters appear together, this is called self-punishment. The self-punishment relationship works as follows. One character is just one unit of energy, but when two identical characters meet, it becomes 2 times 5 relationship, causing a significant change in energy. As a result, the native will experience certain events. For Chen, Wu, You, and Hai, self-punishment can sometimes manifest as good events and sometimes as bad events, depending on what kind of energy is being triggered. However, with the 3 punishments, good outcomes are very rare. They almost always indicate negative events. The 3 punishments generally signify unfavorable situations. That concludes today's lesson.
Don't miss out. Hit subscribe and share to join us on this incredible journey of discovery. Your support fuels our passion to keep creating. Any questions or need personalized guidance? Leave us a comment or get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being part of the LY5Elements family. If anything is unclear, feel free to drop a comment below. I would love to discuss and explore these topics with you. And for those of you who want to understand your Bazi chart but find the learning process too complicated, you can always message me for a one-on-one consultation. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support truly motivates me to keep sharing this knowledge. See you in the next lesson.